Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Family seeks answers following death of relative who was admitted at St. Anne's Bay Hospital. More reactions from residents in St. Thomas over hurricane preparedness. And later in sports, 2 more reggae boys arrive in Japan ahead of selection for Jamaica's upcoming games. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. There's a call this afternoon for the Health Ministry's intervention over substandard conditions at the health center in Hope Bay, Portland. Residents say water constantly settles on the property and when it rains, they have problems accessing the facility. Details in this report. Underwater, but not because of rainfall. Residents say this has been the state of the Hope Bay Health Center in Portland for decades, but it's worse whenever it rains.
When the rain falls, nobody can walk out there unless they walk in the water or in a taxi. What about the people who can't afford a taxi? They have to walk in it. The workers here, the nurses and the doctors that come here, they need better working condition, just like the people of Shrewsbury. When we go up there and we see the condition where they're working, they're in comfort. These people down here don't have no comfort. And they're putting on the service just like them.
When rainfall, if there's not a vehicle to take in any patient, the nurse or the nurse aide, their shoes will be wet, soaking. They have to come out of their shoes barefoot. And work has been hampered for the whole day.
Peter Evans is the councillor caretaker for the Hope Bay Division. He wants the matter to be urgently addressed, especially now that the hurricane season has started and the facility is close to the seaside. He also notes that the constant settling of water in the yard causes mosquitoes to breed, and so he wants the Health Ministry to address the matter.
I would like to see them come and dump it, lift it, that give it a good draining system so that we can mend that situation.
Patients also complain that the facility has been run down over the years and needs urgent repairs.
When you look at the benches, we don't have any proper seating. If the rain falls on here wet, so we don't have any much sheltering.
TVJ News was told that the municipal corporation owns the property, but when we contacted the councillor for the division, he declined to comment and the mayor didn't answer or return our calls. More concerns amid the start of the hurricane season, this time at an emergency shelter in St. Thomas. The Ailus Valley All-Age School is almost inaccessible after heavy rains last year destroyed the only road leading to the institution. Sandy Williams visited the area recently and filed this report.
A ravaged scene on the main road which provides access to the Ailus Valley All-Age School in St. Thomas. Heavy rains last year left one section of the road broken to pieces and another split, rendering the school almost inaccessible.
The road is so impassable such that we had to, as a matter of fact, myself, I had to carry stuff on my head to get our isolation room done so that the school could be rendered certified for our GSAT or PEP students to sit that exam.
The institution is the only school in the community and there are no alternative routes to get in and out.
We are concerned that this roadway, what it presents now, goes against the safety and security policy of our school. It means that our teachers, the entire staff, the students, and even visitors are not safe. Not to mention if it rains every single day that it gets overcast, that is where the concern is being raised even more.
With the start of the hurricane season, concerns have heightened as the school is a designated emergency shelter. Principal Doreen Duffus says when it rains, traversing the area is a dangerous trek, especially for children.
As a matter of fact, one of our neighbors, a neighbor to the school, she got washed down in that place there. Before the stones rolled down in it, it was up to here. I went down in it, so I can tell you right up to here, the road height. So it's very, very deep, right? It's very, very deep. The lady, she was old. She's an old resident of this community, and she had to spend almost a month in the hospital. Can you imagine our students getting damaged in that place?
She says several appeals for the authorities to fix the problem have fallen on deaf ears. She's hoping the road will be repaired before a life is lost.
We are not ready to go on camera to hold our heads and to bawl because we have lost our student. So we really want the authorities, whomever is responsible, we don't even know who to reach out to anymore because we're stretched thin. Anybody who is able to help us.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
Now, when contacted, Communications Manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, explained that the road is an access road to a school, which is not the responsibility of the NWA. Instead, he says the Ministry of Education should contact the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation for the matter to be addressed. And it's now time for a break, but please stay with us here on the Midday News. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. We go now to news of an investigation underway at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital where the lifeless body of a patient was found at sea. The deceased man's family are up in arms about the incident. O'Shane Masters has the details.
Was it negligence? A family is demanding answers about how their loved one, who was allegedly a patient at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital, ended up dead in the sea. The man, Alvin Nesbeth, was admitted in hospital on Thursday, May 27. His daughter says when she went to visit her father the following morning, he was not there.
A member from my father's community saw me and said that he saw him sitting at the bus stop. So I went to the bus stop and saw him. I asked him if he got discharged. He said to me, yes. And I asked him if he got a prescription. He said no, but he's going home. So I said to him that I brought him some money, so I'm going to give him so that he can go home. Same time, he turned to me and said something when I realized he didn't know what he was saying because what he was saying wasn't true and it wasn't real.
Upon arriving at home Friday evening, Ms. Nesbeth said the family got a call from the hospital.
Me, on my way coming back to work, when I reached Ochi, she said to me, the doctor them called say missing. But she told them, say, no, him no missing. Our daughter see him under the bus stop and carry him home. So them tell her, say, him pressure to hide him for bring him back.
She said the order issued by the hospital was followed. However, Ms. Nesbeth noted that about 5:30 Saturday evening, she received a call from the hospital informing her that her father was again missing. She was advised to report the matter to the St. Anne's Bay Police. She says on Tuesday morning, the police called,
saying that they found an unidentified body. When I went to St. Anne's Bay, me, my two sisters and my cousin, it was my father. So I would like to find out what happened to my father from him. Why didn't no one see that he was missing until we find him body? Where was the security guards that are always on the ward, that they make a mental patient walk out of the hospital? So I'm seeking some help to get some answers from St. Anne's Bay Hospital.
When we contacted the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dennis Morgan, we were told that an investigation is being carried out. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
We go to a developing story now where over $80 million will be spent to fix the gully at Harbour Drive in East Kingston after years of widespread erosion in the community. The project is expected to start in July. But as Kalisha Williams reports, the residents are not pleased with the timeline.
Now, the perils of living on the edge are all too familiar to the people of Harbour Drive in East Kingston. Now, things fared worse in November 2020 when a large portion of the land behind these homes collapsed after days of heavy rain. But except for a buildup of debris and vegetation, things have pretty much remained the same.
It's been very hard, because anytime you see the place dark up and the rain start, you start to pray and say, Lord, hope we don't have any more damage to the property. So each time the rain sets up and fall, we have to be praying hard. And at night, you're listening and, to hear.
But after years of pain and protests, hope, an $80 million promise to have the gully fixed starting mid-July. But the residents are still not satisfied.
I am hoping and praying that they will really begin it. And when they say they're going to do it, they're going to spend the money to fix it, and the money will use to fix it and not going to anybody's pocket.
Residents should be compensated. We haven't heard that in the 80 million if we will be compensated, but we're hoping that we will be compensated for the loss of our property. And we hope that the 80 million will be do the work wisely.
The proposed timeline is an issue too for Public Defender Arlene Harrison Henry, who has been actively pursuing the matter.
These people in Harborview have been waiting for government to fix that problem that agencies of government, Doug, and all the people are saying is, can you please get this gully fixed?
Mrs. Harrison Henry also explained that construction in Harbour Heights, followed by widespread deforestation, has led to the erosion of the gully. Now she's just hoping that the residents of Harbour Drive will soon be able to sleep at night without fear of losing their homes.
To the latest now on the COVID-19, where 88 new cases of the coronavirus were confirmed on Thursday from 845 tests. The country's overall case count is now 48,821. The country's COVID-19 positivity rate now stands at 9.5%. The death toll is now 960. 9 additional deaths were recorded. 4 of the deaths were recorded in St. James and 1 each from St. Anne, Portland, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Manchester. 5 of the cases were previously under investigation. 1 death is currently under investigation. In the meantime, 149 persons are hospitalized with the respiratory illness. 11 are critically ill. There are 21,537 active cases. President of the Coffee Exporters Association, Norman Grant, says the economy can receive a well-needed boost through the coffee industry. He suggests that through investments and increasing productivity, the coffee industry can move from a $20 million U.S. industry to a $100 million U.S. industry. Codian Barrett reports.
Cries from coffee farmers are that the cost of 1 box of coffee is too low to combat the expenses of production. 1 box currently costs $6,000, a price point moving down from $12,000. But between paying pickers and transportation, some coffee farmers are left with little or nothing after selling. We caught up with the president of the Coffee Exporters Association, Norman Grant, who explained why the price is decreasing.
Because of the lack of demand, the price and overstocking, the price of coffee on the world market fell. The price of our Blue Mountain coffee also fell.
To combat this, he says there needs to be an increase in demand locally.
90% of the coffee that we produce in Jamaica is exported. 10% is consumed locally. So one of the things that we are also trying to do is to do 2 things. To initiate a campaign that creates a coffee culture in Jamaica.
Also, more coffee needs to be produced to supply new markets as a long-term development.
We need to move that production in the first instance to 350,000 boxes by 2025, by 2030 500,000 boxes, by 2040, 750,000 boxes, and by 2050, 1 million boxes.
Currently, the country produces 260,000 boxes per acre, but with the many challenges such as difficult roads, no water, and predial larceny, entering the coffee market may seem discouraging. Mr. Grant is therefore lobbying for the Ministry of Finance to critically look at the sector and reinstate the farmer exemption status and give farmers tax incentives.
If a young man knows that if he goes and establishes 10 acres of coffee, he can purchase a pickup, no duty, right? And he use it in his coffee farm, right? And it's going to bring him a return of 15 or 20% in year 1, 2, and 3, right? And his profits is also going to be exempted, right? He will be excited about that.
He says if the agriculture sector was given the investment it deserves, the contribution to gross domestic product would be higher, export costs would be lower, and crime could also see a decline. Codian Barrett, TVJ News.
To a TVJ News follow-up, Scotiabank is refuting claims of closing its branch in Port Maria St. Mary. What has changed, according to the bank, is its business model.
Up to Friday, May 28th, the branch offered full services, meaning that they offered cash over the counter through teleservices. They offered customer service, transaction processing in the banking hall. But since the end of May, we have changed the model to what we refer to as our digital banking model. And simply put, what our digital banking model represents is that there is no over-the-counter cash.
The announcement comes following concerns from members of the religious community in the parish. Now, the bank closed its doors in April, encouraging customers to use its online platforms and ATMs. But customers contend that not all have online access.
55% of the transactions are done on our ATM channel, or at our point of sale, or through our online and mobile. So we have over 33% of total transactions conducted at our ATM.
President and CEO of Scotia Group, Audrey Togwell Henry, says despite the change in the branch's model, help is still available for those who need it. And we now head to a quick break, but Simon Preston is standing by with sports, so please stand by. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. Reggae boys Adrian Mariappa and Ravel Morrison have arrived in Japan and are all available for selection for Jamaica's upcoming games. This brings the number of players in camp to 20 as Jamaica prepares to play Serbia on June 7 and Japan's Olympic team on June 12. The last time Morrison represented Jamaica was in their 2-1 victory over Saudi Arabia in November 2020. Mariappa, who has been a national player since 2012, has made 50 appearances for the Reggae Boys. Reggae Boys defender Ethan Pinnock has been named in the English Championship Team of the Season for the 2020-2021 campaign. More in this report. The 28-year-old played a pivotal role for Brentford as he was part of the team that kept 21 clean sheets in 48 games in all competitions. Brentford were promoted to the Premier League last weekend after blanking Reggae Boy Jamal Lowe and Swansea City 2-0 in the playoff final. Meanwhile, Reggae Boys target Ivan Toney has also been named in the Championship Team of the Season after netting 33 goals in 52 appearances in all competitions. This will be the first time Brentford are playing in the top flight of English football since 1947. Brentford, Watford and Norwich City are the promoted teams that will play Premier League football next season. The 2021-2022 season of the English Premier League is slated to kick off on August 14. A bit closer to home now as Mexico will face the United States in the final of the CONCACAF Nations League as both teams recorded semi-final victories in Denver on Thursday. In the curtain raiser, the Americans clipped Honduras 1-0. Jordan Sebachu scored the all-important goal in the 89th minute. This game was officiated by Jamaican O'Shane Nation. Another Jamaican in Jasset Carr Wilson was the assistant, while Daniel Parchment was the video assistant referee. In semi-final 2, Mexico defeated Costa Rica 5-4 on penalties after a 0-0 scoreline in 90 minutes. Mexico will face the United States in the final on Sunday. The third-place playoff between Honduras and Costa Rica will also be played on Sunday. To cricket we go now, as after having the last few weeks off, former West Indies Test captain Jason Holder has joined the Red Ball squad in St. Lucia ahead of the series against South Africa. The 29-year-old, who is rated as the top all-rounder in Test cricket, is optimistic about the Caribbean side's chances of a favourable result.
I think it will be a hard-fought series. I think South Africa is in a transitionary phase where, their bowling attack is very, very solid, but, they've left a big hole. A.B. de Villiers, Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis have probably left a big hole in their experienced batting lineup. So they've got a few youngsters coming in trying to make their mark as well. And likewise with us, So I think this series will be probably won by the team who puts the runs on the board.
And as it relates to the bowling department, Holder feels both teams are evenly matched.
I think both bowling attacks are very, very solid. Our bowling attack in the Caribbean has proven to be one of the best bowling attacks. And, South Africa's bowling attack with Anrich Norkia, Rabada, Ngidi, just to name a few. Maharaj as well too does a really outstanding job for them. So it pretty much balances off itself in terms of the bowling lineups.
The first test bowls off on June 10. Meanwhile, Cricket West Indies has named a 17-member provisional squad for the test series against South Africa. The squad reads skipper Craig Brathwaite, vice-captain Jermaine Blackwood, and Nkrumah Bonner, Darren Bravo, Ruston Chase, Rakeem Cornwall, Joshua De Silva, Shannon Gabriel, Jamar Hamilton, Jason Holder, Shea Hope, Alzari Joseph, Kyle Mayers, Kyron Powell, Kemar Roach, Jamel Warrican, and newcomer Jaden Seals. The squad is expected to be cut to 13 players on Monday. And that is it for your Midday Sports Report. I'm Simon Preston. Giovanni, it is over to you.
Thank you so much, Simon. And from sports to commerce, it's now time for the Business Minute with Cody and Barrett.
In the world of business, Tropical Battery and CAC 2000 have announced a joint formation of Innovate Limited. The company will establish energy-saving solutions for commercial customers in Jamaica and the Caribbean. Innovate will officially start offering its product and services as of June 1, 2021. Some good news for cannabis producers looking to export. Chairman of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, Levon Flynn, said opportunities are evolving.
Well, I'm happy to announce the export regulations is at the very, very, very final stages before promulgation. I believe it is now with the AGC, the Attorney General's chambers, and only awaits, I believe, my signature then onto cabinet before it's gazetted.
He was addressing the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation webinar on Wednesday. And coming up in the Business Review this Sunday, we explore Rainforest Seafood's newly built bami making factory. And that's it for the Business Minute this week. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And that's how we end the Midday News here today. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.